The other thing that's different is the role of teachers and teacher unions. And you might draw a line with back to the advent of many conservative think tanks getting into the business of looking at educational policy with a motivation to try and in the end to weaken the influence of teacher unions. It's not always the case, by the way, and as somebody who's run the legislature in New Jersey, I ran 3 times opposed by the teacher unions, and I won 2 of those elections, and I ran twice with the support of the teacher unions and lost both of them. So, but it's not true that teacher unions endorse only Democrats. But if you look at their fundraising and distribution of their campaign funds and their endorsement practices, you would say that they are overwhelmingly Democratic. And of course they are interested in sustaining support for a public institution that requires tax funds. That's sort of where they begin. And that is not the program of conservative think tanks. And so you've had a long-range view taken by many in the conservative movement that you needed the means for weakening the influence of teacher unions in the politics of education. And many of the initial proposals for example, merit pay, where you would have differentiated pay scale based on performance for students. There's a big problem with that, which is that it's to do that in a way that is both reliable and fair and practical. It's both reliable, fair, and practical. There's no system in place for you to do that. I talk, just by way of example, of how difficult it is if you are teaching, you're an English-speaking teacher with a growing percentage of your students coming from non-English-speaking families, where the families themselves are not literate in Spanish. And your job is to teach their children to read and write English. It's very hard. And if you start in September with 22 students, 10 of whom will not be there by the time testing starts in April, and their places will have been taken by 10 other students, maybe with very different educational, instructional issues, how do you measure teacher contribution in that classroom in a way that's fair, reliable, and effective? That's the kind of problem of practical problem that no one has really solved yet. And you need to push the idea, and you need to have a better evaluation system than we have now. But to think you could launch that next year, which seems to be the view of some, seems to me to be either disingenuous or naive. So here we have President Obama, who has been remarkably consistent in a world where you can't trust politicians, where they say one thing to get elected and they do something else after they've been elected. Barack Obama has, on an issue which was not very visible, not very central to the presidential campaign, secondary, tertiary issue, it came up, and he said and advanced a notion of educational policy that was very consistent with what he's done as president. He said we need to protect the framework of the No Child Left Behind law that was enacted in 2001. It's a law that should not be thrown out. It's a law that needs to be fixed. And the primary attention we should give in fixing that law is to its requirement that every state adopt academic standards that are then tested in grades 3 through 8 and in 1 grade of high school. The standards are weak, they're vague, there are too many of them. They do not reflect what we need to do to address the competition from Singapore and Finland. They need to be revised so that they are simpler, stronger, more rigorous, and put us back in the international competition. Thirdly, he said we need to increase the number of charter schools. We need to increase federal financing for charter schools. During the campaign, he said he would double the money for charter schools. Fourthly, he said that we need to improve the quality of teaching and leadership in public schools. This is the most important thing we can do, is to attract better teachers and do a better job of teachers who are there to make certain that they become more effective teachers. And we need to do the same thing for principals. The final thing he said is that we have a problem that is particularly strong with work days. And we need to invest in high quality preschool. And I want to see the federal government, and said this several times during the campaign, put at least $10 billion into encouraging the development of, first of all, more preschool, so more kids can go. And second, the preschools they go to need to be higher quality. We need to spend more time with the kids. The teachers need to be better trained. We need to have college graduates teaching in preschool programs. He supported very consistently and strongly the development of preschool as a big part of the answer to the achievement gap. And he did talk about the achievement gap during the campaign. And he's talked about it as president. All of the things that I just reeled off as being his campaign positions have been pursued energetically by Obama and his Secretary of Education, Arne Duncan, with one exception. And the one exception is the high quality preschool. So what we have is a smorgasbord, I think, of policies that in the one case will take an awful lot of time if they are relentlessly pursued. The idea of improving the training and support, improvement and retention of able teachers, that's not going to happen next year. The idea that you're going to get better standards, that could happen in a couple of years. Better tests, you have those in a couple of years after that. And what will you have? You'll have a bigger achievement gap. You raise the standards, make them more rigorous, make them more in line with the standards found in the countries that we're competing with, you'll widen the achievement gap. So that's not a very helpful answer to the underlying problem. So why would Obama pursue policies which, let me back up. The policy that's attracted the most attention, that he has advanced steadily, and Duncan more steadily, is the one that tries to connect teacher evaluation to student performance. And in fact, they just finished the first round of something called the Race to the Top competition, which is to distribute $5 billion to the states. And there are only 3 conditions that are absolute in order to apply.